he got arrested for like being an accomplice in possession of a firearm and went to jail for like 10 years.
So even what are they carrying nunchucks around?
And then there was another thing, like, so me and JT have sort of have this kind of like Zen mondo, where
Zen mondo.
A mondo is like the Zen master is like master, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Then the master slaps him across the face, or I have built an orphanage and rebuilt this burnt down forge. What is my merit, master? None. There is no merit. But what if I burn down the temple now? Then there would be merit. And you're like, what is that? Back and forth. But it's just sort of a back and forth between two people. And whenever he would present whenever we would present, someone would bring up some crazy plot point. Like there was a point where they were seriously discussing have a Yakuza versus Russian mafia storyline. And I'm like, no.
That wouldn't happen?
No, there's never been a Russian mafia presence in Japan that is powerful enough to have a gang war. Never happened. Never existed. Certainly not in Tokyo. And JT would be like, is there a world in which, like a small, cotillion of Russian gangsters? I'm like, no, there's not a world where that happens. Never. Not in this world. And not unless all the Japanese in this world are green and all the Russians have tails. Because that would be another dimension, but not in the Japan that we've set this story. So there was like a scene where Katagiri, who's the detective, comes home. There's like a Yakuza waiting for him, and he pulls out his gun. I'm like, nope, stop. And I'm like, Japanese cops do not get to carry their weapons home.
What?
Japan has some of the strictest gun laws in the world. So when the cop goes into work, he can check out the gun, and when he leaves, he checks it back in.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, no,
they get the job because they want the gun.
Yeah, well, you don't get to take the gun home.
That's fucked up.
And not only that, when you target practice, if there's one bullet missing, one shell missing, nobody goes home until they find that shell. Every shell, every gun is meticulously accounted for.
This sounds like Nazi Germany.
I disagree. This is why in 2021 or 2022, the number of gun deaths in Japan for a nation of 123 million people was one person.
Nah, that's a good number. That's solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Yakuza's, they're packing.
No. The Yakuza used to pack. Like Tsukasa Shinobu, right? The big boss, the head of the Yamagachigumi.
They're not packing heat.
His bodyguard had a gun. He got arrested for like being an accomplice in possession of a firearm and went to jail for like 10 years.
So even what are they carrying nunchucks around?
Carrying knives, baseball bats, wooden swords.
Oh, they're good at baseball over there. They got Louisville. That's right.
Oh my God.
But still, no gun.
No gun. No one wants to have a gun. It is such a crime in Japan to use a gun. It's another crime to have a gun with a bullet that matches it.
Did the scriptwriters bin this one? Like they had to be carrying guns in that show.
I think we had one or two scenes where people had guns, but but this is 1999. In 1999, the police were kind of like, oh,
a little more lax.
They were. It's like, oh yeah, because remember the destruction of property thing? Oh, as long as you're just killing each other, we don't care.
That's how we do it here in America.
If a civilian gets in the mix, then we got a problem.
Whoa. So you basically had, even if it wasn't in your byline title for it, you ended up having a real say in how the scripting went to an extent.
Yeah, and we also had a sort of canary in the coal mine, and JT and I agreed to this. So Mari Yamamoto, who is a journalist who became an actor, who is currently starring in Monarch, this Apple TV series about Godzilla.
Okay.
And also had a really good part in Pachinko, the first season. So she is a journalist, started as a Japanese journalist, and then we worked together at the Daily Beast for a long time. And so in between acting gigs, she does journalism. And when we were doing Tokyo Vice, I was like, I want Mari in the writer's room as the interpreter, the consultant, someone that you can, go through these, because we have, materials that are only in Japanese so that we can keep it authentic, from the ground go. So, you know, she is one of the most uncredited reasons why Tokyo Vice season 1 and 2 are really good, and why it's authentic, and why even the Japanese media is like, yeah, this is real. Like, you know, it feels right, because she's there going you know, Russian mafia, no, geisha in the Yakuza office, no, you know, cops, beating up a suspect, no, not gonna happen.
Getting it right.
Yeah, getting it right.
Yeah. And then the latest book that you wrote, Tokyo Noir, this basically just picks up where your last one
it picks up where Tokyo Vice ends. So it overlaps a little bit. Picks up about 2007.
And what's the story being covered here?
The story is being covered is what it's like to be a corporate due diligence investigator in Japan, trying to ferret out how the Yakuza are doing business, whether you're looking at a real firm or a fake one. And then the second half is about discovering that there are worse things than the Yakuza, which are the ruling party and this horrible corporation that let a nuclear disaster happen and probably will have another one happen. I don't think people understand that the Fukushima nuclear reactor is still an accident in progress. If they stop pumping water into it, nuclear fission occurs again and you have explosions.
Why would they stop pumping water into it?
Well, they have to, but if the pumps break down, you have another nuclear accident.
Whoa.
They haven't even taken the nuclear rods out of it. And all the contaminated water that's flowing into it, now they're dumping into the ocean.
Into the ocean?
Yeah.
So this is 13 years later.
Yeah.
And this is still basically going on.
I mean, the Japanese government calls it treated water.
Watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.